Yes. So, hello everybody, welcome back to another episode. I'm back with Garimas today. So, a lot of people watching this or hearing this would know Garima, maybe. Getting into the introduction, Garima is a podcast host and an entrepreneur. So, she started a company which is called Podcash. So, again, Garima, thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshit. This is so inspiring to see. I mean, I'm sure your audience would know that you're a 17-year-old boy, and it's so inspiring to look at your journey. And you were just telling me about your plans ahead, and I think I'm honestly fortunate to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure again, Garima. So before getting into any introduction, any conversation or discussion, it would be great if you could introduce yourself and more about your work, in briefly. It was just I just gave iceberg. You could just take us deep in about your work and what you
Yeah.
do.
Sure. I mean, I don't know how good is that joke with the climate change that's happening around us, but yeah, sure. So, I'm a podcaster. I'm a content creator. I host the pop culture show, which is called Popcast with Garima. It's a pop culture podcast, and the idea essentially stems from the place of patriarchy. I come from a very small town in Rajasthan, and most of my growing up years, I've been conditioned to see that these certain norms that Marwari families follow, and you're not supposed to question, be a rebellious person, or those basic things that you've always wondered, that why can't I go out at night while my brother can go out, or why do you want to get me married first, and so these a lot of these little things grew up, and podcast is now my therapy. It's I went out all my thoughts there, and I think it's very relatable to all millennials, because this is what as a society we're being plagued by, of and not having enough platforms to represent our thoughts. So I think with a podcast, that's the main motive. We have amazing guests on the shows. These are the people who are actually influencing the pop culture of today. So we talk about toxic masculinity, we talk about body positivity. It's an infotainment show wherein there are bits and pieces of information, but it's stitched in a and it's packaged in a way which is very different from any other podcast. So I take a lot of pride in that, because I toil all my hours editing and packaging it, in a proper show, so you don't feel like you're just listening to it on your microphone, on your headphone, I'm sorry. Other than that, podcast essentially grew up from my journey of being a podcast creator. And once I realized that there is a whooping gap between the podcaster and advertiser, a lot of podcasters have been in the industry for good 3, 4 years. Some of them have been for a decade, but they've not been able to monetize their podcast, just like how content creators on YouTube or Instagram can. So podcast is a marketplace which will bridge the gap between advertisers and podcasters, and will enable hopefully a more democratized podcasting landscape in India. The aim is to help content creators like you and me both. Over the span of 9 months, my podcast was fortunate enough to work with 5 brands, and I was able to monetize in some capacity. But that's not the case with every podcaster. I mean, every podcaster is not a good salesperson, so to say, and they don't know how to position their podcast, the brand that they've created in themselves. So that's going to be the whole idea of one, democratizing the industry, making sure that podcasting is not just a side passion project, or is not just something that you're doing out of love. Of course, the primary reason is that, but if it helps you get some bucks in your pocket, I'm sure nobody would mind. So yeah.
Hmm, hmm. Okay, okay. And just I just wanted to keep this conversation about podcast and about your podcast. But as you went into deep about telling that how you experienced and how things were in Rajasthan, being in a Marwari family, of course, I'm also in Marwari, and I've seen those things in Rajasthan. Of course, not in my home. Things were different
Yeah.
because we lived in a city. But just curious, how were the initial days of you, just understanding things and fighting with your own norms created at your home and village, and how did you fight that and stood rebellious and did something different which not maybe other girls would have thought about?
Yeah, so with three sisters, and just like any other household, when the youngest sister, when my sister was born, it was sort of like, oh, they're going to be three sisters, and how will you take care of these three girls, and what about the education and this and that. So, I mean, I do give a lot of credit to my parents for really helping us and giving us that platform and pushing us always to do things. Having said that, there were boundaries. If I had to go for an inter-school competition to, let's say, Jodhpur, or let's say I had to represent my school, and go out of Rajasthan, out of the boundaries, so there would always be questions that, how will you go, and are you going to be safe? So all of these things were obviously there, which, I mean, any Indian parent, any brown parent would be very curious about their daughter. But I think my parents have all been very, very supportive, and they've always pushed us. And wherever they could not, we tried explaining to them that, listen, this is what I really want to do. I remember class sixth, I made the decision that I want to pursue mass communication and journalism. And that, back then, this is, I think, easy 15 years back, when I told them that this is what my passion is, and I want to do journalism, and they were outright, they were they were actually shattered, because they were like, oh my god, our daughter's going to go out in the field, do reporting and journalism, because in their head, journalism meant standing out on the road and reporting live at a bomb site, probably.
Yeah.
So I explained them, this is not what it is, and you have to believe in us, you have to have trust in us, and let us make paths for ourselves. And of course, give them some bit of credit there. But I think all three of us were very, very focused right from the beginning. We never took any opportunity for granted. We always were very, very crystal clear in our thoughts that this is what our plan is. If not, this is what my plan B is. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Okay, okay. And how hard was the it to make them believe in you? Of course, that at those times when you were young, I think now even people with so much of modernization, globalization, things changing, people are still a bit scared. Parents are a bit scared about that कि कुछ हो गया, so if something happens wrong, something goes wrong. And that time you making them believe कि I'm stronger, I'm girl, but I can fight for myself and be stronger. So how was that?
Yeah, I can
How
fight like a girl.
Yeah, you can fight like a girl. So how did you stand up, and how did you make them believe in you?
Sorry, I lost you there. How did you?
How did you make them believe in you? That's what my question was.
I mean, there's no one answer to this. That how did I, make myself, make them believe in me? But I think the first key to making them believe, and this again stands for any parent, is getting good marks and good grades. So if you cover that, if you cover that aspect, then they've got nothing to tell you. So fortunately, I was always a brilliant kid when it came to academics, but I was always more interested in extracurricular activities. So once they would go to the parent teacher meeting and the teacher had nothing to really complain about, that's when I would like sort of take an advantage, and I would be like, okay, this is something that I want to do, can I please go ahead and participate? So it's like always finding that sweet spot with your parents and handling them very strategically. I think, as I really believe, as much as parents handle their kids strategically, the kids are also very, very smart to play their game. So you have to be smart to find when your mom or dad are in a good mood, and when you want to like slyly slide it that, okay, this is something I want to do, what are your thoughts about it? So yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, again, thank you very much for sharing those, thoughts and how you passed out with things, and how how what was your profession and your work before journalism? What were you, of course, as you said, journalism, like, were you, did you go into journalism and were you able to make yourself there in journalism? And how then did you enter into podcasting?
Yeah. So I was always an audio person. I mean, I remember when I was in the second year of my graduation, I was part of a community radio that my college had. And I used to host a program called Mera Gana Kab Aayega, which was a request based show. And so, radio jockeying has been something that, again, it's something that I've been doing. And after that, I went for my further studies. I did my master's from Jamia Millia Islamia, and I studied filmmaking there. And then I moved on to Bombay because I got placed from my college. So then I moved to Bombay. I was working with I was doing a bunch of things while I was in Bombay. I was freelancing as a content creator. I was working with I had a full-time job with Tata Sons, which was corporate communications with them. Then I moved to Bombay Times, where I was handling their music vertical. But all in all, again, when I was in Jamia also, I was doing community radio shows for them. So radio has been a very integral part. um, but podcasting happened to me, it was, for me, it was an extension of radio, because for me to go to a radio station parallelly with a job was something which was, I mean, I practically could not handle it, because 9 to 5 was my job, right? So podcasting, because it's an on demand radio platform technically, so I thought, if I still want to be associated, and if I still want my thoughts and my voice to reach out to people, then podcasting is the most efficient and effective medium. And of course, it like 2020 was such a massive year for podcasting. And my podcast, actually, I started it in the same year. It is a product of pandemic. But I think I conceived the idea that I want to speak about pop culture, or this is going to be the structure of my show. These are the guests I want to call. These are the segments that I want to have, or these are the kind of topics I want to cater to. That I pretty much thought a year ago while I was still working with Bombay Times. Um, and it all fell into place only in the pandemic. So I think for me, the last year has been super productive and super constructive, and I actually did a lot that I always wanted to do.
Hmm.
In
Okay.
fact, not many people know that while I was studying in Jamia, I also started another. Uh, I started another startup which was called Wow Chef, and I haven't spoken about this, anywhere else, I think. So Wow Chef was another idea that I pursued, and which was, and I don't know why did I not pursue it ahead, but it was more like a passion project, which so Wow Chef was basically whatever is in your fridge, you just put the items and it shows you different types of recipes basis the ingredients that you already have.
Have.
Because most of my growing up years were in hostel and were in PGs and different kind of flats. So for me, I think it was just, like an idea that, okay, whatever is there in my fridge, if I can put it in an app and it can show me that only with onions and capsicum and potato I can make 10 different recipes, like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And was like, was it, did it even start, as you had an idea of starting it? Did it
Yes,
start?
we did make an Android application. I myself stored the I mean, oh my God, it was a humongous database with all the recipes and sorting out. And so we were able to make an Android application. We were able to make the UI, UX and everything. And but again, I don't know, I never chased it after I finished college, because it was such a rut that I was part of, and it's such a rat race later after you finish college because you're caught up with your job. So yeah.
Okay, okay. Again, thank you very much for sharing something which you didn't share anywhere. It's exclusive.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever spoken about Wow Chef anywhere, and I will be so happy if somebody ever makes something similar. I think it'll be great, and it'll be such a wonderful innovation.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And this podcasting, it was the same thing for me when I think I did start podcasting in, in cameras in front of, that kind of interview thing. I just started it in last November, I think, to the 20. I started in last year, which was in 2019. So yeah, it then this is pandemic which boomed up, and I did multiple episodes, I think, with different people and kind of people. Yeah, how were the starting days, and how were you able to get through that ki ye karna hai, this has to be the way, this ye karna hai. And when you made mistakes, how did you try to work upon them, and how did you try to improve those mistakes?
So I think Popcast has really evolved just within 9 months of operations, and because I actually never treated it like a passion project. I was very very clear right from day one what I want to do with the podcast. Um, uh, Anybody who asks me about my journey of starting a podcast, I think I I first started. I opened a PowerPoint presentation. I actually made a full deck, that, like I said, these are the guests I want, these are the topics I want, these are the segments that should be in my show. So I documented all of it in a PowerPoint presentation. I still have that presentation. And the whole idea was so that, I'm clear, and it's not just another 7 episode thing, and my podcast is, and basically the whole concept of pod fading, that, you do 7 episodes and you just sort of fade away. So I was very clear what I want to do. I always knew I don't want to just make a mediocre product and take it out. So I knew that this is going to be the anatomy and the structure. I think everybody figures it over the course, but these are some ideas that I knew that acha aise to karni hai. Once the podcast started, I remember we were at 6 listeners on episode 1, and today we were over 200,000 listeners plus, right? So over these, from 6 to 200,000, what changed is I got a lot more clarity and perspective on the direction I want to take Popcast ahead. So it started, of course, as a pop culture podcast, and that's the wider umbrella. But I know I have to pivot towards, over the time I realized that my niche and my forte is talking more about women led issues, and finding the voices and empowering them. And because I have a creative bent, so I tried doing disruptive things. So if you look at the season 2 trailer of the podcast, it was something which nobody ever did before, like a video trailer which almost looked like a series trailer, or like a show trailer. So that was something very disruptive. I'm working on my season 3 right now. Again, that is also something, at least in from my understanding, it's something very different that nobody's ever done to promote their podcast. We're coming up with ideas and things like that. But what I was telling you is that the journey from 6 listens to now, where we are, it also helped me understand the positioning of the podcast better. I lost you, I think. What issues we want to deal with. Once the listeners started flowing in, a lot of their feedback was counted. We started something new, which is called Pop Shorts, which are more simple form of content, which is just 10-minute episode. It's an excerpt that's derived from the main conversation, but it's more like a trailer to your episode, right? So that's also something very interesting that I found out, that we have smaller pieces of segments rather than 1 hour of conversations, because I mean, we're still pretty much just scratching the surface when it comes to podcasting in India. People are not ready to listen to conversations which are an hour long or 2 hours long, just how maybe it's the treatment is in West. So then I broke down my content. I found different strategies of marketing. So yeah, I think a lot has changed. I've learned a lot, and I'm trying to imbibe all of that in season 3, and of course with podcast.
Okay, okay. I just yeah. Again, congratulations for completing 200,000 listeners. I just forgot about that.
Thank
Again,
you.
congratulations for that. And
Thank you.
yeah, it's just crazy. First of all, to see that you know growing such wonderfully just in a time of a year. That's again congratulations and kudos to you, Garima. Again, moving forward.
Thank you, Lakshya. That's very kind of you.
Yeah. So yeah, moving forward, just again, this now, how did this idea of podcast, came into your mind? How, what was the idea, and how did you work upon it, and what's the plan did you create? If you could take us through that.
Yeah. So, like I said, podcast came from the need of because I was myself a podcaster and I was a creator, and I feel that I had written so many emails. I mean, roughly give you a number, I'd written over 50 emails to brands asking for sponsorships, collaboration, that this episode is a fit to your brand, and these are the ideas that I want to bounce off, and let's connect. But it the entire ecosystem of brands getting of brands actually trying to, I mean, they know that podcasting is the buzzword, but they're not really ready to put their eggs in the basket, because every brand looks for conversion or for performance. So, and with podcasting, because it's so niche, it's very, very difficult. But we were still lucky enough to crack of brands, and then in course realize that there's actually nothing which can solve this problem for any content creator, because there are a lot of regional podcasters, there are a lot of very niche community led podcasters in their own genres. So how will they monetize? I mean, it's not possible for every podcaster to go out and give the sales pitch. So I really wanted to bridge that gap and make something for the creator economy and do something which can help, like I said, not make podcasts not just a passion side project, but also a self-sustained medium of business, and all the effort that they put in with the elaborative content that they put. I think podcasts are such a great medium for brands to tap into, because they get so much higher resonance. It's it's your user, your audience is already engaged in a conversation, and if you can bake in an ad seamlessly, it gives you so much more time to speak and give your thoughts why you want to do what you're doing. With Instagram and YouTube and other platforms, it's very it's very short, and in 30 seconds, what brand messaging will you ever get out? So here it gives you that leeway to speak, to talk and express your thoughts, and give so much more value add, especially for brands. So yeah, I think this is going to be the way forward. Right now we're witnessing the trend what Instagram influencers or YouTubers were witnessing 5-6 years ago, and soon even podcasters are going to be influencers. We're
Hmm.
seeing big influencers like Ranveer, Kritika, all of them come into podcasting, right? Even celebrities, we're seeing that trend come in. So it's the right time to do something for the creator economy, and hopefully a more democratized landscape.
Okay. And how tough is it gonna be to get brands, as for podcast, for being more specific? How tough do you see to get companies and brands in connection with podcasters, and how difficult do you see the way? Because I think getting in the way of the American type of ads these American podcasters have in their podcast is like wonderful, and I don't
Hmm.
think it's going to be as easy as they have it. We are going to have it in India. So
Yeah.
how hard is it going to be for podcast and for brands to come in?
So, like I said, brands are excited with the buzzword podcast. They know audio is going to be the future. They haven't explored much. Some brands have been very proactive, like Bumble. They've made their own podcast. Couple of other brands like Dettol and KitKat, they're looking for ad spots on various streaming platforms. But having said that, we're still on the surface. There's so much. I mean, the potential of audio is not even explored yet, and there's so much possibility that we can do around that. Creating audio experiences is something what we will pursue. So not just sponsorships and audio ads, but we will also try to look at creating branded audio experiences for brands. The product will officially be, I think it's already in the development process, and it should be out by April this year. But we're already doing our beta launch, and we're working with a bundle of podcasters to test the waters, to test the market, and figure out a way that we can explore synergies with the brands. But to give you a sneak peek, the platform will be a very it'll be a self-serve platform. You There will be brands listed. You can give your bids. You can you can give your rates, that this is what I want to charge for a pre-roll or a mid-roll or a post-roll. Um, and um, the brands can accept or reject your proposal. So it's highly democratized. It's something that we're very hopeful, because podcasting over in the next 2 years is expected to go on a boom with the trends that we're seeing everywhere, with Spotify acquiring Megaphone, with Anchor, with Amazon acquiring Wondery. And I think today also I was reading about another acquisition, and it's all in a roll, So definitely there is so much that can be explored.
Mhm. Okay. And how is podcast going to work with, like, is it going to be a way where you send emails to brands regarding you seeing a potential in a podcaster, or how is that going to work?
Emails, I mean, no. So these are conversations that once a brand is on board, then they will send out their brief on the website itself. There are no emails. We everything that is a conversation between the podcaster and the brand will happen on the platform, so there are no emails. There's going to be a dedicated workroom or a chat room where you can speak to the brand there itself, and you can know if they have accepted or rejected, or if you have a counter offer to your proposal. So yeah, it's not emails per se. What we will do is help you look at the catalog of brands and give you that independence to choose which brand you want to work with. So it's the power ultimately is in the creator's hand.
Mhm. Okay, okay.
But we, of course, we show you the catalog, that if right now your podcast is on zero, I mean, by new I mean, we can take you from 0 to 1. You have to, of course, give the brand what value can you provide, or what's the value add that you can provide via your podcast. It will vary from your listener base to your ideation to what unique concept you can give the brand as per their brief. So yeah.
Okay. And this how hard was it for you in the initial days for getting brands to collaborate with you and get them on board and help you out, give their ad on your podcast? How was you for you to find an first brand who accepted the proposal?
I mean, it was fairly very difficult, because, like I said, now podcasting is a big word, but 10 months back, when I started out, they were still pretty much getting the understanding of it. And the top marketeers who were trend catchers, they would know that, okay, this is something which is going to be big, and they believed in the future of audio. But it's not easy. I mean, and that's how podcast is here, because so that you don't have to do the amount of labor and effort I put into sending those multiple emails, sending out, waiting for their reply, then giving them that, okay, this is not possible, because a lot of brands ask you for barter, or ask you for you know for just promoting their spokesperson on the show, without any commercials, right? So it was difficult. Having said that, I knew the kind of product and the positioning of the podcast. So um and I also had that marketing ability to talk to a brand, and close it in a certain way. So it was difficult, but I think what brands are looking at is performance. And for them to realize that podcasting is not about performance, it's about tapping into high interest areas in a very niche community. If you're looking at that you will give me a coupon code or something like that and I will crack something, it's not possible. So yeah, we're looking at with podcast, the idea is to um, give you sponsorship opportunities, to give you um, pre mid post roles, to give you custom opportunities where you can do discussion interviews, and of course give you affiliate marketing opportunities.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you very much for sharing again, about podcast and all those things. Now I think it's just a few more questions I just want to, ask you is about Garima,
Sure.
like being a girl from Rajasthan, it would be fighting with your own the society norms which are said, formed around you, then getting into Delhi and studying there and getting fighting and just making a career, uh, working with corporates and doing everything you wish to do. Of course, there are some which you wouldn't be able to, maybe. um, and then starting a podcast, getting 200,000 listeners on it. How does it feel? Like, how does it make you? How does it make you feel?
It's not. I mean, it does make you feel good for validation, but honestly, I know in my head there is so much more to achieve. 200,000 is just a number. And my main goal is to work on podcast, and I'm aggressively, reaching out to people, to podcasters like you, to brands. And um, I mean, the whole idea is to do something for the creator economy, like I said. So
Hmm.
it only makes me feel good that I am part of the economy and I'm trying to do something for it now. So of course it's overwhelming, but it's not even like you said. It's not even there's a long way to go, and if I keep thinking about how good will 200,000 make me feel, it's going to take me nowhere. So I'm waiting for the next milestone already.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And wish you all the best, Garima. I think you're gonna boom it up. You're gonna be wonderfully growing, and that's for sure. In the season three,
Thank
I think
you.
you have wonderful guests coming. So yeah, moving forward, again, a question just which I want to ask you is, what did you personally learn from starting with 6 listeners to, as of now? What did you learn and got to understand till now regarding podcasting, and tips and tricks you understood?
Yeah. Okay. I think I learned to be a very good listener by being a podcast host. Because um, when your guest speaks and gives their perspective, I learned that keeping quiet for some time is good. So I really like the fact that I got to learn how to be a good listener. I also learned the art of conversation. I learned, when you're speaking to somebody, how do you pick up from what they say and how do you stitch it in a way that your story is compelling for the listener. Um, I also learned how to work on Audacity and edit. I also learned about um, these little nuances that you only will learn once you dig your feet in what you want to do. So, um, I mean, do a lot of research about the guest that's going to come on your show. Maybe listen to their previous interviews. How do they speak? What do they talk? Um, frame questions which no other podcast, I mean, no other interviewer have asked them, so that the value that people will get from listening to your podcast will be something very, very different. So I think a lot of research. Be very clear in terms of your thoughts. I hate it when somebody says, when I ask somebody, what's your podcast about, and they say, oh, it's about it's about everything under the sun. Then you're not doing it right. You cannot really, you have to find yourself a niche. You have to find a category that interests you. It could be something on a very micro level. You could just be interested um, about gadgets, but just know what excites you, what motivates you, what can you talk about beyond those 7 episodes,
Hmm.
um, so I learned a lot there. um, and I think with every interview that I take, it's a conversation that teaches me a lot about the issue that I'm talking about. It really broadens my perspective because, I mean, I have my own reservations on certain topics, and then I look at a whole together new way that the expert would give me their understanding of the topic. So it definitely, broadens my horizon, my perspective, and there's so much to learn with every conversation.
Mhm. Okay, and just last one more question, Garima.
Sure.
What would be your message to anybody and everybody watching this and listening this, and one message to girls who are feeling to do something but are scared because of something, or are just not powerful and think that they are just girls and they can't do anything, but knowing that girls can do everything like everyone in the world. Yeah. So just two messages you like to leave here.
I mean, it's there's so much that honestly, girls and women in particular need to unlearn than learn.
Mm.
They have to unlearn so much, and there's nothing new that I can teach them. They are powerful, they know they're strong. It's just about time that they realize the power within themselves, that they have the ability to do literally anything. It's just it's not about the gender, male or female. It's about how resilient, how
Mm.
determined, how consistent, and um, how motivated you are towards pursuing what you want to pursue.
It's you.
Be it anything, be it your job, be it your course, be it cracking an examination, be it having a startup of your own, or be it anything. It's never about the gender. It's always about how focused or good you are at your work. So to any woman who's listening to this, or to all the women out there, the only message is, we've been taught a lot of things over all these years. I think it's now time to unlearn whatever we've been taught, and teach ourselves and have faith in ourselves, and go that extra mile. I think always go that extra mile. If you think that you've done something, um, sleep over it. Next day, get up. I'm sure you will think, oh, this could have been better like this. Chase it, don't leave it there. Always chase the I mean, I personally chase perfection until I'm not satisfied with my work. So have that hunger to do something, have that will to do something. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And one last message to people listening this.
Subscribe to Lakshit's podcast.
Thank you.
So follow wherever you're listening to us. Watch out for season 3 of my podcast, which is Podcast with Garima. Please go subscribe and follow there also. I'm sure, like I have learned and unlearned so much, you guys will also, through the podcast. And the idea is to empower women. So definitely go check it out. And if you are a fellow podcaster, then I highly consider you subscribing to podcast.in. Please sign up for the beta version, and we will get back to you with a lot of sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. Again, thank you very much, Garima, for sharing exclusive things with us. It's really great. It is really wonderful
Thank
to have
you.
you. Again, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Garima.
Thank you so much, Lakshya. This was a lot of fun. I hope I could be of some value to you.
You were.
And
You were.
I hope we get to meet sometime, and definitely work together. It's such an inspiring story that you have. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
all the best.
Thank you very much, Garima. Thank you again.